$68,000. That is what a fully loaded 2024 Chevrolet Silverado 1,500 costs at the window sticker, before dealer markup, before fees, before the 84-month loan that turns that number into something closer to $90,000. By the time you finish paying, and right now, owners across America who paid that price are filing complaints with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration at a rate that has not been seen from this nameplate in over a decade. Engine failures, transmission shutters, electrical systems that reset without warning, cylinder deactivation that is destroying the very motors it was designed to protect. This is not a rumor circulating on a forum. This is documented in federal records. And if you own a 2021, 2022, 2023, or 2024 Silverado, what you are about to hear directly affects the value of the vehicle sitting in your driveway right now. General Motors did not send a press release about this. There was no announcement at a Detroit auto show. What happened to the Silverado happened quietly through a series of engineering decisions and cost-cutting moves that were made inside the corporate structure and pushed out to buyers who had no idea what they were actually financing. Owners are now furious, and the paper trail that explains why is sitting in public databases that most people never check. That changes today. If you drive any of the vehicles in this investigation, this video could save you thousands of dollars. Stay until the end, because the final piece of this story is the one General Motors is most desperate to keep out of your hands. The first thing you need to understand is what the Silverado used to be and what it has quietly become. The previous generation, the K2XX platform trucks, built from 2014 through 2018, ran a naturally aspirated 3-liter V8 that mechanics across the country still call one of the most durable half-ton engines General Motors ever produced. Owners were routinely hitting 200,000 miles with basic maintenance. Fleet operators loved them. Contractors put 6-digit mileage on them and kept going. That engine had problems, yes, but it was understood, it was serviceable, and it was built with a parts architecture that independent shops could work on without specialized dealer tooling. Then came the T1XX platform. The 2019 redesign brought a new 5.3-liter and a new available 6.2-liter, both equipped with something called dynamic fuel management. General Motors marketed dynamic fuel management as a fuel economy innovation. What it actually is, in practice, is a system that cycles the engine through 17 different firing patterns, constantly deactivating and reactivating cylinders depending on load conditions. The oil pressure demands of that system are extraordinary. The active fuel management lifters, which are the mechanical components that make cylinder deactivation work, require a precise and consistent oil supply to function correctly. When that supply is interrupted, even briefly, the lifters collapse. And when the lifters collapse in a Silverado with high dynamic fuel management engagement hours, the camshaft goes with them. That repair, when it hits, is not a warranty inconvenience. It is a $4,000 to $8,000 engine job, and it is happening to trucks that have not yet reached 60,000 miles. According to NHTSA complaint data, owners began flagging this failure pattern in volume starting in 2021. By mid-2023, the NHTSA complaint database for the 5.3-liter equipped 2019 through 2023 Silverado showed hundreds of documented engine failure complaints, specifically referencing lifter collapse, oil consumption anomalies, and loss of power events tied to the dynamic fuel management system. Owners described the failure consistently: a loud ticking noise that appears suddenly, a check engine light, a drop in power, and then a dealer visit that results in either a multi-$1,000 repair estimate or, for trucks still inside the powertrain warranty, a weeks-long wait for parts that are reportedly back-ordered nationally. One complaint submitted to NHTSA in 2022 reads as follows: At 47,000 miles, the engine began ticking loudly on cold start. Dealership confirmed AFM lifter failure. Parts on back order for 6 weeks. I am making payments on a truck I cannot drive. That quote is not from one person. That sentence, in different words, appears in complaint after complaint in the federal database. The pattern is not ambiguous, but the lifter issue, as serious as it is not the full story. What we found next changes the scope of this entirely. While the mechanical failures were accumulating in real-world use, General Motors had already received enough internal data to know the failure mode existed. Automotive engineering analysis published by independent technical reviewers and reported on by outlets including Consumer Reports noted that the AFM and dynamic fuel management architecture had a documented sensitivity to oil viscosity and maintenance intervals that the owner's manual did not adequately communicate. In plain language, the truck requires specific oil change protocols to protect the DFM lifters, and General Motors was not making that clear to buyers at the point of sale. Dealers were not being trained to communicate it either. Owners following the standard oil change interval displayed on the dashboard were in some cases unknowingly accelerating their own engine wear. Consumer Reports, in its 2022 and 2023 reliability surveys, flagged the Silverado 1500 with a below-average reliability rating, specifically citing engine and engine cooling as areas of owner-reported concern. For a truck that costs as much as a starter home down payment in many parts of this country, a below-average reliability rating from the most widely used consumer research organization in America is not a footnote. It is a crisis. And here is where the betrayal becomes corporate, not mechanical. General Motors knew the company had sufficient warranty claim data by 2021 to understand that dynamic fuel management was producing a lifter failure rate that exceeded acceptable thresholds. Their documented response was not a recall. It was not a technical service bulletin that solved the problem. Their response was a revised camshaft design introduced quietly in the 2023 model year build cycle, a change that appeared in no press release and was announced to no one. Owners of 2019 through 2022 trucks were left holding the liability. The fix existed. The owners did not get it. They got a revised part in a new truck they would have to buy to benefit from it. If you want more investigations like this, the kind that take hundreds of hours of federal database research and cross-referencing, subscribe to Motor Crisis Watch right now. We post a new investigation every single week. Now, let us talk about what this has done to the resale market, because if you own a 2019 through 2022 Silverado 1500 with a 3-liter and dynamic fuel management, the failure pattern is now widely known in the used truck marketplace. Wholesale buyers at auction know, CarMax buyers know, private buyers who do 10 minutes of research on forums like Silverado Forum and Reddit communities dedicated to GM trucks know. The result is that trucks in this window are taking meaningful valuation hits compared to comparable Ford F-150S and Ram 1500s from the same model years. You paid for a truck that was supposed to hold value. The corporate engineering decision to push dynamic fuel management into full production without an adequate solution for long-term lifter reliability is now sitting on your resale sheet as a depreciation penalty you did not agree to absorb. There is also the question of class action litigation. As of the most recent available court records, multiple class action lawsuits have been filed in federal courts referencing the AFM and DFM lifter defect across General Motors vehicles, including Silverado and Sierra applications. Plaintiffs allege that GM was aware of the defect and failed to adequately disclose it to consumers prior to purchase. These cases are moving through the legal system. The existence of active litigation is not a guarantee of a buyer remedy, but it is documentation that this failure pattern has crossed from consumer complaint territory into legal accountability territory. That is a significant line. The question owners are asking on every forum and in every shop across this country is the same one. What do I do right now? There are three things worth understanding clearly. First, if your truck is within the powertrain warranty window and you are experiencing lifter noise, ticking on cold start, or oil consumption beyond 1 quart per 3,000 miles, document everything immediately, get it into the dealership, and get the complaint in writing. Do not let a service advisor characterize it verbally. You want a written repair order with a symptom documented. That paper matters if litigation produces a remedy program. Second, if you are outside warranty and you are experiencing this failure, get an independent mechanical evaluation before authorizing any repair at a dealership. The repair is the same whether it is performed by a dealership or a qualified independent shop, and the labor rate difference can be significant. There are also aftermarket solutions from companies specializing in AFM delete kits that mechanically disable the dynamic fuel management system, effectively removing the failure-prone component from the equation. This is not a GM-approved modification, but it is a widely documented owner response to a problem that GM has not resolved with an adequate factory fix for prior model year owners. Third, if you are currently shopping for a used truck and the Silverado 1500 from the 2019 through 2022 window is on your list, get a pre-purchase inspection from a mechanic who knows this failure pattern specifically. Ask them to check oil consumption, listen for lifter tick, and pull the NHTSA complaint history for the specific VIN you are considering. That inspection will cost you $150. The engine failure it might prevent will cost you $6,000. General Motors built a legacy with the Silverado nameplate over decades. That legacy put working Americans in trucks that lasted and delivered value for the money spent. What has happened with the T1XX generation dynamic fuel management architecture is a betrayal of that legacy, not through malice, but through a series of documented corporate decisions that prioritize fuel economy metrics and regulatory compliance numbers over the long-term mechanical reliability of the product that owners are paying for at record prices. The engineers knew the sensitivities of the system. The warranty data confirmed the failure rate, and the decision was made somewhere inside the structure of General Motors to continue in selling the product while a revised design was prepared for future model years rather than addressing the existing population of affected trucks. That decision has a cost. Owners are paying it right now in repair bills, in depreciation, and in the particular kind of fury that comes from being let down by something you trusted with a payment that stretches out 84 months into your financial future. This is the kind of investigation no dealership wants you to see. Subscribe to Motor Crisis Watch, because next week we are pulling the documents on a transmission failure pattern affecting a different nameplate that has already produced over 1,200 NHTSA complaints in a single model year. Share this video with anyone you know who drives a Silverado from the 2019 through 2023 range. The information in this video is not opinion, it is in the federal record, and now it is in your hands.